Hi, good morning, everybody. This is Marilyn. Do we have audio this morning? Maybe, maybe if we're lucky. Yes, thank you. Okay, good morning, everybody. This is Welcome to My World. About 8:30 on the 19th of November. It's a Thursday morning, and we have news in about 3 minutes. We have the Canadian wholesale sales and the unemployment claims for the U.S. I guess that's what they're claiming the unemployment to be. Um, well, I won't go into what I think about that. Anyway, um, if you uh, catch this in a recording a little bit later, scroll back into the morning and the chat, and you're going to find some really good, helpful uh, suggestions. People's got some very creative ways that they're pointing out of some of these indicators that they put up on a little bit different time frame charts to give them a bit of an overview, and they look very, very interesting. I'm going to try a couple of those. So thank you, everybody. This is how we all learn, because believe me, when I first started, I just found this so difficult. I couldn't get it. I just couldn't figure out how to get this to work for me. And so finally I just had to sit down and decide I have to figure out my way to make it work for me. So that's basically how we got to my world. This morning, we've got these indices kind of drifted up overnight, and they're starting to back off. In a minute, I'm going to go over a TF trade from yesterday afternoon because we had a lot of questions about that, and it turned out to be a really good one. But crude oil took a drop and seems like it's backing off a little bit. I think it's waiting on this Canadian uh, news. The Canadian dollar just put a doji in. We'll see what it's going to do. It certainly got happier yesterday afternoon, along with the Aussie dollar. Bonds have drifted up, and so we'll see. We'll see how this plays out. The VIX ended up yesterday afternoon below 17. It was about 1685. And remind you that this is options expiration week, so tomorrow the options will be expiring, and there'll be a lot of movement in the markets for people that are getting in and out of options and uh, covering positions and what have you. So the third Friday of every week, if you don't have that marked on your calendar, until that is kind of on automatic pilot for you, I would put that on your calendar. That's something you really need to be aware of. And then triple witching, which is the third Thursday and Friday of every quarter, because futures carry options also. We haven't gotten into that kind of stuff here, but there are options on the futures, and those particular days, everybody needs to be aware of those. Let's see. I think this morning, when you look at crude oil, if you're a crude oil trader and you were up with your charts loaded, you should have had a nice trade right off of here. I didn't catch all of this because I didn't have everything up and running, but I did get a little bit of it. Of course, all the early birds who were up and ready to go, when this long candle came right off of the midline on ice this morning. That was about quarter after 6, or no, it was a little later. It was almost 7 when that hit. But when it does something like that, you can almost be assured that it's at least going to go to settlement. But settlement was another good place to enter this. And about settlement, we got this MVP arrow. And I think I've mentioned before, when you get an MVP arrow on a 12-tick diagnostic and it turns up about the same time, not exactly, but within, a couple, 3 or 4 minutes of the same time on a 10-minute, you have a trade. That is a significantly strong indicator. So if you took that from, say, settlement, even if you took it down to the red ice, but once it went through the red ice, the next logical stop would be the deviation. And there's a magnet right here about 41.45. But the deviation is good, and it did go all the way down here to the low of yesterday. So that's kind of how we use these streets. Yesterday afternoon, after the brain trust got through releasing the minutes, go back and find this trade because it was right here. And I know that watching those videos and listening to those over and over, you pick up some little nugget. Sitting there and watching videos for an hour or longer, and as far as I'm concerned, pretty soon you kind of glaze over. So if you can break those up into little 5 and 10-minute segments, and then jot down, when you get a nugget, jot that down. And you need to keep a notebook with those little things in them until those are ingrained into your mind. But there was some discussion in the chat room yesterday, right about this time, and it was on the formation of this candle right here. The idea that it had formed an E, it went up to this there's a major magnet right here, but there's also, this little dotted line in here, this is the high of the previous session. So people were sitting here wondering about where and how and what and stuff to get into this. And once this had bounced around right in here with these streets, there were some people trying to take this right, I think, off of the lorry sling, which is the first one in a run, which would be right here. This to me is something that I don't like, because the proximity, how far is this going to go? Well, I have absolutely no idea. This is the top, this is the high of the day. So the high of the day, for it to go higher, that bus driver is going to have to put the pedal to the metal. And there's no guarantee whatsoever that they won't back right off of this. So kept going a little higher, and then people were talking about getting in right here. Well, I waited to see, because if you missed this and you still wanted to take this, and there was a lot of volume, which there was coming into this, you could see it off of if you had your time and sales up, because it was a bit of a response to the FOMAC minutes. But if you let this go up here, and when it drops back down, most people get, oh, good grief, it's going to back off, I'm going to lose, blah, 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 oh my goodness. Well, I don't know. This is the time to really practice peeing. Be picky about those entries, and then be patient. I loved what I think it was Anthony put in here yesterday. That is so good. He says he's being Simba and he's hiding in the bushes waiting for his next meal to come by. So if you're patient, and the safest thing to do when there's streets like this is to put your entry 2 or 3 ticks above there so you have some assurance that the bus driver has got the passengers and the gas to go on. And when this put in such a long wick, these are real slingshots. I mean, this is a real pullback and then bam. I don't like to trade at that time of day, so I just took my normal 15 ticks and got out. But this was a great trade if you wanted to sit there and take it, just as long as you're out before these contracts close for settlement for the day. You don't have to be. It's just that your day margin is going to shock you because that $500 day margin is going to go to something like 3,000 in a heartbeat. So anyway, this is also a good lesson when there is afternoon news. It's very significant afternoon news, and you have to be away and you can't trade in the morning. When there's news like that, you can make your whole trading day just right there in a few minutes in the afternoon. So the buses run all day. There's always some bus you can take to make some money for the day. Anyway, it looks like crude oil might want to come back up off of this. Brent is not giving me too much confidence that will happen right now. So if this changes and we get this trend turned around from the green E's, normally it will happen first up here. And I haven't seen any E's. When you don't have any, when you expect to have apexes and you don't see them, go in your indicators and find your apex pattern and flip the initial from up to down or down to up and see if that does it for you. So that is